I know you might be saying that this AIO is wrong way around, but these cables are a little bit in the way, and in fact, in this case, they can't actually fit in the case. Look at this test bench. We've got the pipes, they're running across everything. Here, exactly the same way, pipes running across everything. And look at this system here. Again, exactly the same thing. Our pipes are just running randomly everywhere. So there's this, and you're already familiar with this because we've done a build on this channel, and this is the first generation, but there's also the second generation now. Ta-da! I've got 3 versions in here, but don't you find it interesting when the new generation looks very similar to the last generation, but then when you start looking into things, you realize, actually, there's quite a few things that have changed. Let's try to figure these out. So firstly, these are the LCD-S, and there is also LCD-C, I guess circular and square. So on the right here, we have the previous generation. Then this is the newer generation circular, and the newer generation square, and then white square, if that makes sense. So if we're looking at both of these on the side here, and I believe these are, 28 millimeters, as you can see. And the performance fans always used to have this kind of golden middle. So they've put a sticker in there, so you get an extra black sticker, not the see-through sticker. Then obviously one of the biggest difference is the fans. These here have all the fan illuminates, they're black, and then you've got some RGB on the side, and then obviously the white, you don't have the white illuminating the actual fans, but just on the side there's like an infinity mirror. And the thickness here of the fan also seems 28 millimeters. Now there is a direction that I'm seeing quite a lot of manufacturers go in, which is more minimalistic, less wires approach, and Lian Li has done here this as well. So if you look at the first generation, as you can see, there is extra cables coming from the pump. You've got the USB cables and all of these. So from the pump, there's just extra cables coming. If you look at the new one, boom, there is no cables coming from the pump, just the tubes, which makes the look really, really smart. And all the cables are coming out from there. So as you can see, USB and the fan control, they're all like coming out from this side of the block, which means you can put them behind the PC case. Interestingly, even the circular design of the pump, it can be rotated, looks like it. But it is quite big as well, not as big as the square design. But the square design has a magnetic cover, so you can easily take it off and on when installing the device. And you can see now here underneath the cables, how the cables for the pump RGB and the LCD are coming actually inside these tubing and going there, making it very, very clean look, so you don't see the cables at all. I like this a lot. Then if we are looking inside here, from here you can see that even the design of the pump actual block that makes contact with the CPU is different between the square and circular one. The square one seems a little bit bigger than the circular one. And if we're looking at the previous one, then you can see that they are slightly different shape. Again, the block seems to have gone different. And that is one of the differences. The actual CPU block and pump, they have changed that. The pump is now faster, which means that it moves water around at a faster speeds, which means that the cooling performance is more efficient, better performance basically. And interestingly, they've also shaved the length of the radiator off from 403 millimeters to 400 millimeters. That makes better case compatibility and easier install. But would you look at that? They've also shaved off something else. So the overall fan plus radiator thickness in here is 59 millimeters on the old version, whereas the new one is 52 millimeters. That is quite a bit thinner design. So it is better compatibility in cases, especially when we're going from the side. And some of the motherboards like don't leave that much space on top of the motherboard to the top of the case. Depending on the case and motherboards, it's really the case fault, not the motherboard. The actual radiator is 24.2 millimeters compared to previous 31 millimeters. So the radiator has lost quite a bit of thickness. But when I'm looking at the fin density on here and here, which is the old and new, I don't see that much difference, which means that we have actually made the radiator thinner, which kind of makes me feel that perhaps the performance has gone down a little. because we know that the thicker the radiator, the more liquid fits in there, the more liquid goes around, the better performance there is. That's why they had to ramp up the fan speed of the pump. It would make up for the thinner radiator. The control of the display now also has offline mode and wireless mode. This is the new Fractal Meshify 3. By the time you're watching this, this is not new at all. See, we've got a problem. This is the top panel, and if we're looking at the measurements here, 400 millimeters doesn't quite fit in there, which means that this case has been designed so that it would only fit the front mounted AIO. But this here is meant to be mounted to the top. That's why you've got the shift. So sometimes shift happens. Well, here comes my other favorite case. This is the Fractal North XL. But this is actually a very important thing for you to know. When you're choosing your case and it says supports up to 360mm radiators, that might not mean that you can still use the HydroShift. You want to make sure that the top of the case supports 360mm, not the front. Otherwise, there's no point going with the shift, and you should go with a normal 360mm radiator.
It's so annoying. I don't want to pay hundreds of dollars to just change my Windows wallpaper just because my Windows isn't licensed.
Well, why don't you try Hookies? That's a ton cheaper, and if you use the code TN20, you get it even cheaper.
What do you mean? How do I get it and how is it possible?
Well, see this video here, or the one you're watching? Click in the link on the video description, add the Windows 11 CD product to the cart, proceed to checkout, add the code TN20 for the extra discount.
So what, the Windows 11 Pro OEM key is just $23.22?
Yeah, choose the preferred payment option and complete the purchase. The key will be available on the purchased orders in a few moments. Copy the key and paste it into your Windows activation settings, and you're all done.
Well, that was easy.
Is that Ryan Gosling?
No.
Anyway, by the way, the same discount code also works website-wide, so go check out other products, maybe like Microsoft Office. So, a PC has been built here, and this is inside the Fractal North XL case. And as you can see, on the top we've got the HydroShift II cooler. And one of the things you instantly notice is the beautiful tubeless design. You can see the tubes on the top there, but they're hidden so well and so nicely. I like the minimalistic look. It's breathing right now, so I don't quite like this. We're gonna put static color. Just like when all the lights are one color. Obviously, this is one of those coolers that we have the fans facing downwards, so you can see inside the case. It lights up the case inside. What I want to know is if it actually can cool this. So the CPU I have there is the Ryzen 7950X 3D. So then let's press go, and then let's have a look. This pulls only 142 watts. So it's like very easy for this cooler. So while it's running that, obviously you can see this is very easy to cool. I forgot how little this CPU pulls power. Should have put a much bigger power in there, but it's nowhere near throttling, and it's pulling 140 watts, something like that. When you install the L-Connect 3 software, interestingly, inside the case, you're gonna have a QR code where you can download the software and the manual. But the thing is, if you install this on your PC, how does this QR code of the software install actually help you? Because you can't scan it on a PC. So that's a little bit of a shortcoming of that instruction there. But once you've got it installed, it's pretty simple. Just Google L-Connect 3 Lian Li, and then you get the software installed. You can connect all your lights in there. Because I've got Corsair RAM sticks right there, I'll have to install Corsair RGB software, because Corsair doesn't really like other manufacturers to control it, so I can't control it on Lian Li, nor on Armory Crate for the Asus motherboard. I can't really control that there. HydroShift II LCD. So what you can do is, the light sync is on, you can just, change the lighting on the fans. But if you click on the LCD screen, you can change all of the different screen sizes, what you want to see in there, CPU temperature. If you want to change this, you can add your own. As you can see, you can load your own into there if you want to create your own. Then if you want to have custom theme, there's a different theme options available there as well. Or you can do a modular one and add kind of like build your own however you want and what kind of info you want on there. Additional, this is an interesting thing. You can have this as a secondary screen. So if I press this on, make this into a secondary screen. So look at that. I'm watching my YouTube videos on that screen. Pretty cool. Now that allows you to have another world of exploration. How do you want to like use this or utilize this? This is 60 Hertz screen, so you can get pretty interesting things happening in there. And if you want to take the screen off, obviously it's just magnetic. If it goes back on, will it automatically go? Yep. There you go, and it continues in there. So there is a few ways how we measure a good cooler. Number one, is the cooling performance actually okay? In this case, it really is. Honestly, it's doing a great job. And in terms of performance, you can see 140 something watts pulled. I can hardly hear it just in here. It's doing a great job cooling it. The fans are not loud whatsoever. And this, I don't think, is not even the best performance version. I believe these fans are better than those ones over there. So if you want even more performance, go with that version. Then secondly is the looks and if this is going to fit into your PC theme. This cooler is meant to be used on top of the PC case. So if you're thinking about getting this one, you have to make sure that the cooler is on top of the case, because then you can get this really nice tubed design in there. If you're thinking about putting it in the front, you're gonna not want to go with this one. Get a different Lian Li cooler or some other manufacturer that allows you to mount the tubes from the front separately or differently like this one. In terms of the looks then, that is, I think, one of the best things. Firstly, you have very minimalistic tubeless design. You're not gonna have tubes like running anywhere that you usually would have in here. And also sometimes the tubes run very, very close to the GPU. So the GPU will automatically heat up the tubes that are kind of resting on the bottom of the GPU. So you're just heating your CPU just by this, but right now they're so far away from this and they're doing a really good job at cooling this, and the GPU heat doesn't really make a difference. And this is another behemoth of a GPU anyway. And being able to use it on a back connect motherboard, if you want to go that route, having the display in there to customize it very, very easily. The software support on Lian Li, since I tested the last generation ones, I believe has improved quite a bit. I find L-Connect 3 very, very easy to just work. Plug everything in, install the software, it just works, and it works kind of how you want it to work. It's very easy to get around. I'm liking it. So do we give this a win? I think we do. And I like that you can also buy a version that doesn't have any fans installed if you have your preferred fans, but still like the side shift fit. You can still have that, which is just a huge bonus in here. I'm liking it a lot. If you want to check any of these out, I'm going to leave the links in the video description below. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Let me know what you think. Are you considering a HydroShift II or not? Lian Li, big thumbs up. I like what you've done here.